What's up, family? It is Caden with Urban Finance, and today we're going to be talking about how you can improve your credit score. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to support the page, and let's jump right into it. So, how to improve your credit score? The first thing, before we get into specifics about how we can improve your credit score, we first need to understand the 5 different things that a lot of credit reporting agencies look at. So the first thing that they look at is your payment history to determine, are you paying your bills on time? The second thing that they look at is how much debt do you owe? How much credit are you utilizing from what is allotted to you? The third thing that they look at is the length of your credit history, and that's essentially how long you've had particular lines of credit open. The fourth thing that they look at is new inquiries / new credit. So are you opening up new credit cards, and if you are, why? And the fifth thing that these credit reporting agencies look at is the very mix of credit that you have. And so let's dive into how you can improve your credit by looking at each of the lines that these credit reporting agencies look at. So number 1, your payment history. This makes up 35% of your total credit score. And this is, like I said before, is making sure that you pay your bills on time. That is the best thing that you can absolutely do there. And so just keep it in mind as well that different things, different bills affect your credit score differently. And so paying your car loan, paying your student loan, paying your mortgage, these will have a significant impact on your credit score. So if you're paying them on time, that is awesome, and it will help your credit score. But certain things don't really affect your credit score as much. For example, paying your phone bill or utilities. No, I am not telling you not to pay those things, but I know sometimes we can be stretched for cash and need to know, what do I have to pay first in order to not affect my credit score? And so making sure you pay like those loan payments first before you pay your utilities. And this may seem a little backwards because you need the lights. Let's face it. When you live paycheck to paycheck, sometimes you have to decide who's getting paid on time, who's getting paid late, and who's not getting paid at all. And so for that particular order of hacking your credit, definitely your student loans, your car loan, your mortgage loans, those need to be paid on time to keep a good credit score. Your utilities and your phone bill, those can be paid later and still maintain a good credit score. And quite frankly, if something is still in collections, I will never tell you not to pay someone. But the collection person, if you had to choose, will be the one that do not get paid. Okay, number 2, the second thing that impacts your credit score is your credit utilization. So how much percent of the credit that's allocated to you are you using? And this is 30% of your credit score, so it is a huge chunk. And surprisingly enough, the magic number for this is keeping your credit utilization under 30%. 30 under 30. That kind of goes together. Okay, and so here are some ways that you can really hack your credit. You need to make sure that each one of your credit cards are under 30%. So make sure you spread out your credit card purchases. This will make a significant difference. Obviously, you may have to take a look at your credit card statements, see how much your total balance is, and then see how much credit you have for that particular card, and make sure it's under 30%. The other thing that you can do is call your credit card company and ask them to increase your credit limit. This can also help to get you under that 30%. Now, a big disclaimer. If you know you have very little self-discipline and will probably, as soon as your credit limit increase, go purchase those red bottoms that you always wanted, go purchase those Jordans you've always wanted, do not increase the amount of credit that you're allocated. But if you think you can withhold the urge to do those things, definitely call your credit card company, increase your credit limit, and watch your credit score go up. You can actually call your credit card company probably every 6 months to try to increase your credit score. And for those that are trying to get an 800 plus credit score, I strongly encourage you to keep your credit limit below 10% for each of your credit cards. Again, remember I'm saying for each. So it's not for your total credit, but it's for each card that you have. Make sure to keep your utilization amount under 10% if you're looking to achieve an 800 plus credit score. The third thing that really impacts your credit score is the age of your credit. And so this is the reason why a lot of people say do not close out your credit cards, because the longer you have a credit card open, the longer you will have a long history of credit. And keep it in mind, this is 15% of your credit score. And it may not seem like a lot, but it's a huge chunk of what makes a difference. Unfortunately, a lot of people who are younger are heavily impacted by this. So if you're a millennial or, Generation iGen as some would call them, you really need to pay attention to the length of your credit and make sure you're not closing out those accounts that you've had for a very long time. The other thing to keep in mind here is that when you close out your car loans, that may also impact your length of credit. So for example, I remember 2 years ago when I paid off my car, my credit score dipped below 800 points. And the reason is that because the average person keeps a car loan for 5 to 6 years. That length of credit, that 6-year credit, was getting closed out. So that impacted me from an age of credit perspective. Also, my car loan also added diversity, which we'll be talking about on the fourth step, but it also added diversity to my credit over the type of loans that I had. And so again, I got hit there. Again, don't get me wrong. I'd much rather not have a car payment than get a small ding on my credit score, which I actually end up making up for it, and we'll talk about that. And I'd much rather have money in the bank from not having to pay a car note than to have a slightly higher credit score. But you can also recover from this. It just takes a little bit of time because, like I said, one part you get hit by time, one part you get hit by a mix of credit. But if you're watching this video, I know you're on your way to buying a home if you haven't already, and you'll soon get your credit score back above 800, or there are other things that you can do to increase your credit score or make sure it stays high. And truthfully, once your credit score is above like a 660, 670, what comes into play is really negotiating the best possible rates after that, because the bank already see you as a really good or sometimes excellent person to lend to. Okay, and so the fourth thing, like I mentioned, is your mix of credit. So how diversified is your credit portfolio? And this is something that people do not necessarily think about a lot, but when you have different types of credit, for example, car loan, student loan, maybe you have a mortgage, maybe you have credit cards open, they actually look highly on that type of things because you have a diversified portfolio of credit. And so like I said, if you close out one of those mixes, it will impact your credit score. So just be mindful of that when you're deciding to close out credit, especially if you're close to buying a home or something like that, that you will require credit for. Because really, there are only 4 or 5 things that I think you really need credit for. You need good credit when you're buying a home. You need good credit when you're buying a car, unless you pay for it in cash, which I plan to do with every other car that I buy going forward. And you need good credit for credit cards, because you'll get a much lower rate and a lot of good deals if you have good credit and you use credit cards. And so the fourth thing that impacts your credit score is new credit or credit inquiries. And this accounts for 10% of your credit history, or how your credit score is based. And so the thing to be mindful of here is that there are really 2 types of credit inquiries. There are soft credit inquiries that do not really affect your score that much or at all. And then there are hard inquiries that really have a significant impact on your score. For example, you are allowed to check your credit annually, and there are free sites. I'll probably link one below, like freecreditreport.com. There are free sites where you can check your reports annually, and usually those are considered a soft inquiry that do not affect your credit score. But there are also hard inquiries that do negatively affect your credit score, and that's when you go to the department store like Target and take out a new credit card, or when you go to my favorite department store, which is Marshall's, and take out a credit card. Those type of inquiries negatively affect your credit score. And so be mindful of getting new credit or getting new credit inquiries. Usually, depending on the type of loan that you're getting, there are usually a time period where you can make multiple inquiries and each inquiry won't affect your credit score. So for example, I believe when you're purchasing a house or a car, you can make several inquiries within a 30-day period, and each inquiry wouldn't negatively affect your credit, but make sure you find out what that number is for that specific set of loans. And stop taking out credit cards from the department store, because they usually have the worst, and I mean the absolute worst interest rates. And so no matter how much they're telling you you're saving, whether they're giving you 10% off or 20% off, you're going to end up paying more at the end of it. So stop it. Really, stop it. And the last little bit of nugget that I'm going to leave you, and I know you can't say everything in one video, is do not use credit repair agencies. A lot of times you need credit to, like I said, buy a house, buy a car, maybe for a good credit card, but especially with buying a home, which is going to be the largest purchase that you have. Sometimes the credit agencies will get your credit improved by challenging everything, and you'll have a lot of disputes on your record. But the thing is that when you go to get a mortgage, a lot of mortgage companies won't let you get a mortgage when you have those disputes on your record. So what happens is you go from your 760 credit score that your credit repair agency helps you to get. You go to get your mortgage, they tell you, nope, you got to get rid of the disputes on your credit card history, and you get rid of the disputes, and now you're back down to 700 or wherever you started. And so usually you can use the strategies that I've suggested here in order to improve your credit without having to pay someone to do it. And when, they may help you for a short period of time, but it may not help for the things that you really need the help with. And one more thing. In regards to paying off debt collections, the first thing to remember is never pay the full amount. Never, ever. Always call, always haggle. Because these debt collection agencies buy your debt for cents on the dollars. So sometimes you may have a $10,000 debt and they bought it for $1,000. And so once they are able to make a profit, they're usually happy. So you can usually get that $10,000 debt at least down to $5,000, which is half. And I would say always start your negotiating when you're trying to reduce your debt from debt collection agencies at 70%. So if you owe $10,000, call them, tell them, hey, I really want to get this off of my report, but I only have $3,000 to spend towards this. It's either you take this $3,000 or I don't pay you. And a lot of times they will take the money and clean up your credit. Just make sure anything that you do with a debt collection agency, you get it in writing. Two tips with the debt collection agency, make sure you first verify that the debt is actually yours. One, there's a lot of scams out there with debt collection agencies. Two, a lot of companies make mistakes and that debt might not actually be yours. So just don't go paying it. Okay? Alright family, thanks for watching. I hope I saved you some money by decreasing whatever debt you have in collections by at least 70%, and also by not using a credit repair agencies to repair your credit score. If you haven't already, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comment section if you found the video to be helpful, and if you have an additional tips, because I'm sure you do, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Like I always say, thanks for watching, and remember